Welcome to the Health Chats podcast. Today I am sitting down with Michyla Vig, manager and part owner of Reformed Pilates Crowfoot, lead trainer for their instructor team, and creator of her own online platform, Kalon. She discovered Pilates during the pandemic, and what began as a grounded practice turned into a full career now and community builder that she leads with her heart. And I see she is the oldest of 7 siblings. When I read that, I was like, what? Also a proud fur mom. I'm at her place right now with her 2 pups and her kitty cat. And someone who just cares deeply about creating spaces where women feel strong, supported, and connected. You discovered Pilates during the pandemic. Kind of want to start there. It went from something that you just did to stay grounded to now your full-time career. Tell us, how did that journey begin?
It's really funny. It started with one of my girlfriends. During COVID, we were working together at a dental clinic, and she's like, you need to check out this platform. It's like at-home Pilates. And I was like, okay, sure. Maybe I'll give it a look, whatever. And it was through this one influencer we both followed was doing it. And so we were like, okay, maybe let's try it. We bought a subscription and I absolutely became obsessed. I still to this day have their platform and I do it often. I love it. So I started doing that and I had just noticed a lot of changes, honestly, in my body, but also in realizing who I wanted to be and what I wanted my life to be like. These girls who were teaching on the platform very much had lives that I admired and they inspired me. And I think it just made me turn a corner of okay, no, I don't want kids. I don't want to settle down. I want to do something different. Mm-hmm. And yeah, that's kind of how it started and progressed.
I love that. It's such a common theme in conversations I have that people who step into something bigger in their life, it starts from fitness of some sort.
For whatever reason.
Yeah. I think, for me, it's you're connecting to your body, which we have layers of our body. We have our physical body and then we have our spiritual body. So it sounds kind of like that. So tell me more, what were you doing before for work?
Yeah.
And what was that moment where you were like, I'm peacing out?
I'm done. So I was in the dental field for 10 years. So I was a dental assistant and then I also did dental admin. I was an assistant in Ontario for probably 7-ish years, 8-ish years. And then I moved to Calgary and became a dental administrator. I kind of did assisting stuff on the side, never went fully back into assisting. And I just hated it. I didn't love it. I don't know what it is about dental clinics, but they're all toxic, at least all the ones I've worked in. And I was just sick and tired of going from one clinic to the other and having the same environment. Mm-hmm. And so then it got to a point where, a little bit too much information maybe, but I was having stress BO. Yeah. Almost I was a teenager again or a young boy going through puberty. It was gross. It was rank. It was tangy. It was, anyways, I don't need to dive into it. But it was so bad to the point that I was so self-conscious about it. And I remember I thought it was my hormones. I was okay, something's going on with my hormones. I ended up going to the doctor. They're you're fine, out your levels check out. And then I went on a 3-week road trip to Cabo. Me and Dustin drove down with the dog. And when I was there, not a single drop of BO. And I was sweating. We were working out and nothing. I didn't smell once. The moment I got back to the clinic, I walked through the doors and got it. It was it sounds dramatic, but it was that insane. Yeah. And immediately stressed. And I was I have to quit. And Dustin pretty much said, he's if you don't quit at this point, we're going to have issues because I was coming home so miserable, so upset. It was such a toxic environment. So it was almost he kind of said, you take this leap, we'll see where it goes. Obviously, I had nothing lined up, which was kind of crazy. I think I had 2 permanent classes a week teaching bar at Hot Shop, and I wasn't even very good at teaching bar. So it was that was all I had. Yeah. So it was very much a leap of faith, but the moment I quit, within the week, I ended up getting a full-time job at Club Pilates.
Whoa.
Yeah. So it was one of those, once the door opens,
yeah,
it's a floodgate of, what's meant for you situations.
No kidding. Mm-hmm. And I'm fascinated. I love stories like this. Thanks for sharing, too. Never too much information here. But your body was literally telling you, mm-hmm. This is not aligned.
Yeah, my body's get out.
Yeah, your body's if you don't get out, we're going to make this so disgusting, for lack of a better word, for you, that, you're forced out.
Exactly. I haven't, ever since I quit, I haven't had a drop of BO. That's and I've been teaching in a sweaty studio all day.
Yeah.
Not a drop.
Wow.
Yeah, it really just like shows how insane your body is.
Yeah, your body knows. I think that comes down to like intuition too. And like I said, like we have so many different layers of our body. As a yoga teacher, we learn the energetic body, the subtle body, and it's more than just like our physical. But it sounds like it started there. It was the physical being like, hey, we want to tell you something. And then you stepped into more what sounds like aligned spiritual soul path for yourself. So you said you were working in dental hygiene or assisting.
Assisting, yeah.
And Pilates was just kind of like this thing that you did. What was your journey of becoming a teacher? I mean, for people listening, was it something that you felt confident in doing from the beginning?
The last part of your question, absolutely not. Like I always tell people this now that I'm like doing trainings for Reformed. I tell people all the time, like when I first started doing Pilates, so many people were like, you should be an instructor. Like, why don't you be an instructor? I'm like, oh, I could never. Like I could never. Because I just like had this thought of like, I'm not that kind of person. Like I'm not a fitness coach or like I can't teach spin classes. I don't love spin in general, but like I just could never be that kind of hype person for people. And I think it was just something that I'd obviously never tried. So in my head, I was like, I can't do it because I've never done it. So I can't. And then it was a few big things, but I ended up making the move to Calgary. And when I did that, I was in the process of taking a digital nomad course. So a friend of a friend recommended I take this course because I was like, I just want out of the dental career. And I ended up really hitting it off with my coach. We're still good friends now. And she said to me one day, she's like, I think this is your path. Like, I think this is what you should do. And I was like, I can't. Like, I was like, Krista, there's no way I can't do it. And I remember just kept pushing. She's like, I think you should do it. I was like, well, maybe I'll look into it. Like, I'll see. And then I started looking into it. I started researching it. I was like, oh, it's like, I kind of like this. And I was like, I was doing Pilates every morning for years already at this point. So like I had the basic understanding. So then I signed up for my course and it was a 3-month intensive book course. And then I went to Bali to finish and it was like a month intensive reformer and mat training.
Wow.
Yeah.
I had no idea Pilates did stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I am very much in the yoga world. And it's funny because people are like, yoga and Pilates, it's like they're best friends. They go together. And I have done one reformer class in my life, which I need to get more into now that we're talking about it. But what was that intensive like? Like, what did you do for, you said it was 3 weeks?
Yeah. So it was pretty insane. It was like every single day, usually about like 9 to 10 hour days. Like we were there all day. The studio I did it through was an Australian company and they have then now launched all over the world. So she does trainings in like Dubai, Miami, LA, like everywhere. But it was one of her, not first, but I think she'd been doing it for like 2 or 3 years at that point. And she's a very classically trained Scots instructor. So she got her certification to teach. And then it was like doing Pilates all day, every day. I'm sure yoga is kind of similar. Like I heard it's very intensive and like hard on your body. I tell the trainees that we teach for Reformed, I'm like, prepare to be sore, prepare to be exhausted because you're doing classes every day, all day. And there was, I think, 4 or 5 of us in the course. And so I used Dustin as my guinea pig for a lot of it. But it was really insane. It was nuts. Like I remember about a week in, I was like, I don't know if I can do this. Like I actually don't think I can like physically keep going. And you just power through.
Yeah.
And then it also starts after about a week and a half, it started to feel a little more like, oh no, I'm actually kind of good at this. I can do this. So that was really a good feeling.
Yeah, that's empowering. I feel like that is so similar to my yoga training I did. It was 4 weeks of like 10-hour days where you're just doing yoga, posture after posture after posture. Your mind is telling you, I can't. But I think that's what makes a good instructor too. Not knocking people who do longer trainings because you can do both, but that's probably why you've become so good so quickly too, because you dove into the intensive side of things. Like you kind of took an extreme approach. Because how long ago was that now?
Almost 4 years.
Yeah, only 4 years.
Only 4 years.
Like that is a blink, really, in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, it's nuts.
And you've started Kalon too. So tell me about that, because I love talking entrepreneurship. You went from like working a 9 to 5 to now teaching full time, which I want to talk more about too, like the physical strain on your body, but also starting your own business.
Yeah.
How did that begin?
Honestly, it was an idea I had from the get-go. So I'm a very much like, people always say, don't tell everybody your plans, because if you tell people your plans, you won't do it. I'm the opposite. If I tell someone my plans, I have to do it. even if it doesn't succeed, I have to do it. So I made an Instagram account almost like 2 days after I decided I wanted to do it. Launched my Instagram account. And then I think it took me a full year before I actually posted any videos on my website. And I could blame technology and all the things for why it took so long. But essentially, it was just me. I was like, imposter syndrome got the best of me. The amount of times I rearranged this whole living room to make it work and then wouldn't upload anything, wouldn't do it because I just kept saying, like, you're not good at this. It doesn't look the same as someone else's, or you don't have the same space as someone else. Like, it looks grungy. It doesn't look perfect. I wanted this, like, great aesthetic. And then eventually one day, I think I just realized I was like, okay, I have to just do it because if I don't do it, I'm never going to do it. And so I posted like 4 or 5 videos at once and I just like, screw it, launched it. Yeah. And yeah, the rest was history from there.
Back. Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And also, inaction will keep you in fear.
Yeah.
It sounds like that's what it was. It was this fear and also comparison too, which is so easy to fall into when there's like a million people on the internet doing things always bigger and better because that's what it shows us. But I'm glad you eventually pushed past that and you just did it because now, like, look at what you built. Imagine if you would have never done that.
I would still be rearranging my living room.
Exactly.
It's crazy, especially in the fitness space. I think there's so much comparison, obviously, like in many realms of fitness. But I think when it comes to online fitness, it blew up during COVID. People were doing it in their basements. They were doing it all over. So like, it really didn't matter. But the places or the studio I was following, they had a studio in Australia that they would film at. So like, their studio was beautiful. And then I would see like people starting at these online platforms who maybe already had like a really strong Instagram following. So their full-time job was already Instagram. Or like maybe they had money from wherever. So they were able to like rent a studio space full time. And it's different, realities for different people. But I think I had to realize like, oh no, if I want to get there, I have to start making money with this. Because I also refused to put my own like personal funds into it. I was like, this is gonna revolving door. I'll just make money and then I'll grow and I'll buy new things as it grows. And that was something really hard to push past was my space not being like ideal or perfect. But then I found I'd even go to some spaces and I was like, this is the most beautiful aesthetic space, but I don't love it. It's not me. Yeah. So it was really hard.
Yeah. And like finding what works for you.
Exactly.
And that's something I like that you touched on because everyone has different resources and I don't think it's about that. It's about how can you be resourceful with what you do have. And what I'm curious about on that, because you have Kalon, but you also have your personal brand, which I'm so curious about. I know last time we hung out off the pod, we were talking a little bit about that, like content creation and brand deals. Were these together, like happening in parallel, or was this different?
Kind of. It was a really random hair Instagram reel that blew up. I like came home from Bali and I was like, I'm gonna give myself the volume I had in Bali. So I made my hair into like a bazillion little braids. And it didn't even really turn out, but I think for whatever reason it blew up. I think it hit like 4 million views or something on Instagram, which is kind of crazy. So that was wild because I gained a ton of followers from that. But I think probably the last 4 years, I've been in a big rotation of like, what kind of content do I post? Because I've also been really trying to find myself and find who I want to be. So my personal page was a big rotation of kind of like child-free content. And then it was kind of like couple content with a little bit of Pilates thrown in. And then I kind of was like, you know what, I'm going to push Pilates all the way to Kalon. Like that's just going to be my Pilates account. And then when Reformed opened up and I took that on, I was like, oh, this space is beautiful. I can actually record more content here. But then it didn't really land on my Kalon page because for those who don't know, my Kalon platform is mat Pilates at home, essentially. So you can't put Reform or Pilates all of a sudden on there because people don't have those at home. Yeah. So it was a really weird kind of transition. And I think only the last 6 to 8 months have I actually nailed down more of a niche that I'm liking and that's growing in engagement. And that's really just fallen on Pilates reformer instructing. So lots of people are curious, like, how did you get here? What do you think is like the best training? What do you think is the best certificate to take? What kind of Pilates do you love? Like, there's a very big like discussion about it right now, which I love because discussion is great. But that's really just taken off. So now my personal page has become a lot more Pilates-esque. And then Kalon is actually kind of temporarily on pause. Yeah. Just because it's been a little crazy and hectic on the reform side of things. Yeah. So I've taken a little pause and I'm not ready to give it up, but I'm also like, I think there's a new route for it. Yeah. I just haven't really figured out what that route is or how it's gonna go.
That's honestly so inspiring. Like everything that you just said about a first random hair reel blowing up and getting a bunch of followers from that, not knowing what your niche is. Because I know me personally, I struggled with that for years.
So
And
hard.
if we have people listening for sure are too, where they're like, which way do I go?
Yeah.
And I think especially as humans, but women too, like we're interested in so many things. Like there's so many things.
Our lives aren't one thing.
No.
It's so hard to niche it down.
We're multi-passionate and like multifaceted human beings. So it's inspiring to hear that it one took you that long, because it makes me not feel like I'm behind in any way.
Yeah,
It's healthy comparison there. But two, that you have been able to jump from thing to thing and still see growth that way.
Yeah.
Because you said one thing, which I want to talk a little bit about too, is like relationship content and like your views on that, which I remember when you were posting a ton of that. But now it's gone to Pilates. So before we move there, let's talk more about Pilates and how you're a full-time teacher. Because I know there are women out there who are like, how the hell do you think that? Like, isn't this like a side biz that you do like alongside your corporate? How many classes are you taking a day right now? And how do you do it without your body falling off?
So I honestly, my DMs are always full of this exact question.
Yeah.
I right now, as of like June 2025, I took on a management position. So my classes have gone drastically down because I am doing more management, more training. We've opened up 6 studios in the last year and a half.
Nice.
Or 6. It's going to be 6. So it's been a little hectic in that side. So starting in June, I kind of quit full-time teaching. I have a lot less on my plate now in terms of teaching, but a lot more in terms of other things behind the scenes with Reformed. When it was full-time teaching, between Club Pilates and Reformed, I was doing probably 6 to 9 classes a day with my weekends off. I did weekends at the start just to kind of gain traction and gain members who wanted to follow me and wanted to come to my classes. And then once I'd been around for a little longer, I was like, okay, I'm getting rid of these. I'm going to condense my week. Essentially, the thing that people don't realize is teaching Pilates on Reformer is so much easier physically than it is to say teach bar, teach yoga, teach spin, because you're not doing the moves, right? I find a lot of other modalities, especially like when I was teaching bar, I was exhausted after 2 classes a week. Like I couldn't do more than that. Granted, I had a full-time job also, but you're doing a lot more. You're exerting a lot more physical energy as well. Where teaching Pilates at Reformed, I definitely exert a lot more energy because that's our branding. It is high intensity, high music, or loud music, heated. It's warmer. It's more of a kind of vibey.
Yeah.
Where when I was teaching at Club Pilates, different demographic. It was colder in there. I walked around with my coffee. It was a very chill environment. I didn't have a mic on. So you could teach 9 classes in a day and be totally fine and could do a whole bunch of stuff afterwards, right? Now I tend to usually hit my max around 6 or 7 at Reformed because it is heated. Being in the heat for 7 hours is like...
And these are 1-hour classes?
They're usually about 50 minutes, yeah. So you get a 10-minute break in between. Not much of a break, really, because by the time the class gets out and you say bye to everybody and then you bring them back in. But it goes by fast. And we probably have a good handful of our instructors are full-time. And obviously with having full-time instructors, you need the studio space to do that.
Yeah.
So we now have that where we have more studios so we can offer full-time hours to people.
Yeah.
And we never book people for like 1 class. No one's, unless they want it. If there's maybe a sub up that someone's like, I'll just take that 5, no problem. But for the most part, everyone gets at least 3, if not more, classes in a day. So a lot of our studios have 1 to 3 instructors teaching a day. That's it. So it's, someone has the morning, someone has the middle, someone has the evening, or someone just goes all morning, early afternoon, and someone goes all late afternoon, early evening.
Yeah.
And we have classes at almost every hour on the hour, so.
So it sounds, you make it sound very sustainable.
Very.
My first thoughts are like, how do you talk for 9 hours of the day? Like, you're talking the whole time. In yoga, at least, depending on the type of class that I'm teaching, I have the opportunity to say nothing. Because if you're holding a pose or something, it's like...
So definitely a lot more.
Yeah.
You're like, everyone just relax.
Yeah.
You find ways to go about it. Something we train our instructors with is diaphragm speaking. So not speaking from your throat, speaking from your diaphragm, like really like bringing up your voice that way, because you will use your voice. And my voice has actually changed quite a bit since teaching full-time, and it's almost 2 years that I went full-time now, which is crazy. But since then, my voice has changed. It's a little bit raspier, a little bit on like the deeper end where it used to not have that. When I was teaching full time, it was a revolving door of me losing my voice. Usually by Friday, my voice would start to sound almost kind of like this, but a little raspier.
Yeah.
And then by Tuesday, it would come back, and then I'd be full swing into all the classes again. Friday, I'm losing it again. So it was definitely a revolving door of that. That being said, it's not like it really mattered.
You know what comes to me with that is authenticity, and I'll kind of explain. Like, do you know if you ever had a job where you had to be on the phone and you pick up the phone and you're like, hi, and it's not your voice, like it's like your phone voice or your nice voice or whatever voice that people create,
Your professional voice.
That's just not them. I feel like the more you do something, the more you literally find your voice. Where now, like when you talk, whether you're teaching a class or, having a conversation with me, your voice is the same.
Yeah.
You don't have this different one that's like, hi, or even content. I remember when I first started content on social media, hi guys, what's going on?
Hey guys. Yeah, like whatever was.
What is that?
We do the craziest things.
Yeah.
And that being said, I do have a little bit of like instructor voice, but everyone usually tells me I sound a lot still like me. I just sound a little bit more like kind of almost confident or like not pushy, but kind of, or like more of what did someone said to me the other day? You sound like a TV reporter a little bit. Like I'm more of like a blunt to the point. But it's still very much my voice. Where some people do have like their spin instructor voice. Like everyone does get a different voice.
Yeah.
But otherwise, it is very sustainable long term. And as Reformed has grown, we've taken on a lot of instructors who used to teach spin full time, or they used to teach bar or yoga or whatever they did. And they're like, how can you do that? And I'm like, just wait, it'll come and you'll realize like it is more sustainable. Especially the older we get, like you can't teach 3 spin classes back to back. Like it's not going to be good for you, right? You will burn out. So it is a lot more sustainable long term. That being said, we do have people who burn out. I burnt out at first doing too much, but it just is a fine line. You figure it out and you're like, oh yeah, this is my cap. Some of the girls on our team have, their cap is like 4 in a row. They won't do more than that. That's totally okay. And everyone's just at a different space and they know where they can burn out and where they won't, and we never push it. So,
Which is great because I mean, we're all humans. We're so different.
Exactly.
In the context of physical fitness, so I'm a strength training coach. I'm also a yoga teacher. I also would tell someone to go do Pilates. Why do you think Pilates is such a craze right now? Because there's people who are just diving into just straight Pilates.
I think, for one, it falls into the sustainable category as well. As an instructor, it's sustainable to teach long term, yes, but also as a member, it's sustainable to do Pilates for strength training, also sustainable yoga, also sustainable spin, not as much, bar, not as much, CrossFit, not really, right? So there's always been a fitness modality always turns into a fad at some point, and I think Pilates is now also accessible long term, where before, if you were a rich stay-at-home mom, you couldn't afford Pilates. The first reformer class I ever did was $1,600 for, I want to say 6 sessions.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's to give an example of like how expensive it was. And I think there was maybe 3 or 4 reformers. There was some Cadillacs, there was some chairs, there are different reformer props if no one knows. But it's a smaller boutique style, right? More rehab focused, that kind of thing, men. So I think there's a very big evolution of Pilates, and some people, I won't dive into it, but really want to fight that. But I also think at the end of the day, every fitness form has evolved. Yeah. Yoga isn't taught the same way it was when it was first designed, right? There's certain types of yoga that people are like, that's not real yoga. And I think it's never going to go away. There's always going to be evolution of fitness modalities. And there's a place and a spot for all of them. Right? So something that Reformed is really big on is we're not in competition with anyone else. We do something very different than other studios in town. And there is space for everybody, right? Someone who comes to our studio might not like the heat. They might not like the loud music. We'll send them down to the street, right? Like there's Club Pilates, there's Junction 9, there's so many studios here. And I think something that I really love is that Reformed has that same value that I have, where in my space too, no instructor is in competition with each other. We all have different unique things. We all bring something different to the table. Our members love us for different reasons, and there's room for everybody. It's a huge world. So I think the more it evolves, the more people realize, oh my gosh, this is sustainable. And now it's accessible for everybody. You can do mat Pilates for $20 a month online, or you could go to mat Pilates classes or reformer classes. People still think reformer classes are expensive, and they are, but we have way higher overhead, so it kind of checks out.
Yeah. So,
But it makes sense. But at the end of the day, it's still cheaper than it used to be.
yeah.
And there's more studios. So now there's room for, if, one studio feels a little too expensive, try something else out. Maybe it's not your jam, maybe it is. But I think people are also learning to cross train, where we get a lot of runners, a lot of CrossFit people, a lot of strength trainers. So with that comes people who are like, oh my gosh, I'm realizing that my strength training or my high rocks training, my CrossFit training is 10 times better because I've been going to Pilates, and those little muscles are getting worked that never do, right? But they support everything. So it ends up, I tell people too, a lot of the time, it's like the iceberg picture you see at the doctor's office, right? Like, this is the little thing that's hurting you, but it looks small, but it's huge.
Yeah.
That's essentially Pilates. Like, I think genuinely everyone should have Pilates at the base of their fitness and go and do all these other crazy things you want to do and whatever that fitness, goals look like for you.
Yeah.
But I think having Pilates at the base will always help you. It'll never hinder you.
Yeah.
In a sense. Especially like athletes. We have so many athletes that come in. There's rehab Pilates centers for people to rehab their bodies. Like, there's just so many different styles.
Yeah.
And they all benefit different people.
I like that.
Did that answer the question?
Oh, absolutely.
I could ramble for days.
Sustainability, that was the main word that I heard from that. And it's so right. As a coach, as a trainer, as a yoga teacher, the goal is ultimately, like, can you do this long term? So saying the same thing with Pilates. Yes, it's something you can do long term. You can do alongside of your other regimes, like whatever it is, you can add it on. And I totally agree with that too. Because even in my own journey of fitness, I strength train religiously 3 days a week. And there's the other days where I'm like, well, I still like to move my body. Like, I'm not just sitting at home. So that's where I add in things like yoga, where I go for walks. I don't run anymore. But I've been thinking, okay, I got to add in some Pilates here to work the little muscles. So yeah, that makes sense why it is such a craze. And you're right with the evolution of fitness. It seems like beautifully, everything's just getting more and more and more, which I love to see being a wellness girl. I'm like, yay, less going out to bars and more going to, like the bar, like, or lifting.
For real. I know. I couldn't imagine being like early 20s and this being the environment. We didn't have this, right? Actually, I don't know how old you are, but I didn't have this growing up. We were like, going to bars every night, sneaking out, doing whatever. Like, we were never fitness focused or health fit focused, really. So I think, it is the more there is for people to access sustainable fitness, the better it is for everybody.
Oh, hi.
Tika.
Tika, if you're watching this pod, you can see this cute little puppy just brought me a toy. Hi. I know, you're so sweet. You're right. Yeah, it would have been nice to be younger and have this be the norm, hey?
Have this be the mindset of like, oh, would you want to wake up tomorrow and go to Pilates? Like,
yes.
I couldn't imagine us doing that in our 20s, but like, that's what people do now.
Yeah.
They're less beer pong and more Pilates, more matcha drinks, more yoga, more fitness training.
Sorry.
All the things. KT.
No, you're so right. And like, let's talk a little bit more about social norms in this. I think this is a good transition because it has been so normal for people to, oh, what are you doing on a Friday night? Oh, I'm going out, I'm going drinking. I wake up in the morning on Saturday. People would go for like a Caesar and go for brunch, where now it's become so different, where people go to like a yoga class on a Friday night or a dance class. They wake up, they go to Pilates, they go for brunch. They still do these, sort of things, but they're adding fitness and wellness components to it, which we love to see the evolution. Talking about social norms, you used to be very public, and you said you've transitioned your brand and your niche a little bit, but talking about your relationship and kind of your views on marriage and having kids and how they're quite different than the majority of the world, which I love because so am I. But I want to know where those beliefs stemmed from, because you don't have a normal, like, I'm going to get married, have babies, white picket fence.
Yeah.
They're really different view.
So I will say, I originally wanted kids when I was like 21. I was like 21, I'm having babies. My parents had me young. My grandparents had them young. So that was very much a norm. I do have 7 siblings. Well, I'm the oldest of 7, so I have 6 siblings, and they're all a lot younger. So I grew up babysitting, changing diapers, playing with them, and I love them endlessly. But I got to a point where, and there was a little bit of, I was on birth control for so long. That's a whole other podcast episode.
Yeah.
Which really did alter my brain chemistry a little bit. And my first like real serious relationship, I met him after I booked a flight to Australia. And so I was like, I'm going to Australia for 2 years. And then I met him. And then, you know, I went there for about 7 months and ended up coming home because he wanted to come home. And I did things for the person I was with because I was like, I'm going to marry him. I'm going to have babies with him. Like, this makes sense. And then the moment I would stop birth control, I would be like, oh my God, no, this isn't exactly what I want. And it happened multiple times. So it's like the weirdest thing. But that was a very weird transition for me where in the back of my head, I always kind of knew like, I don't want kids. But I also grew up in a small town where that's what people did. Like they all were having babies and getting married and all these things. And I think I really took a turn during COVID when I realized like, oh, I don't actually think this is what I want. Like I love the people that are in my life that have those things and want those things, but it's never been something I've wanted. And I never really shared a lot on it at first because I was like, people won't really understand. And then I think I maybe posted a few things because Dustin, who I'm with now, he very much was like, I don't really want kids either. He's like, I've never really thought about it until we started dating. And he's like, I always just went with, no, that's what you do. Like, so I was okay to have kids. And he's like, but now that I've, you know, talked about it more with you, he kind of became on the same page. And it was the first time I've been with someone who was willing to be on that page, where I think everyone else I'd been with was always like, man, she'll change her mind. And so it was a very weird kind of path, but eventually I just started realizing, oh no, like people actually like this. And people would come up to me and be like, oh my God, like I love that you post this. I love that you share this. But then I did have the thought where I'm like, I'm posting all this I don't want kids content and I'm getting all these followers. And this kind of falls back into niching, right? All of a sudden I'm getting all these followers off this I don't want kid content. But all these people are following me because they're expecting to see that more often.
Yeah.
And then I was thinking about it, and one of my friends was like, well, what happens if you do get pregnant? And I was like, oh, I actually don't know. Like, I really, to this day, don't know what I would do. And I don't know if in 10 years we might change our mind and want kids, or you don't know, right? So then I was like, okay, if I build this following based on I don't want kids content, and it's easy clickbait because people have opinions on it.
Yeah.
But I was like, these aren't followers that are going to follow me throughout my phases of life, right? These are followers who, the moment I get pregnant, the moment I stop posting kid content, they will leave me. Yeah. And I actually saw a big drop of followers recently, and I was like, I bet that's all those I don't want kid content people. Yeah. Not that I'm having kids or talking about having kids, but it's just, I haven't posted about it in a long time. So that was something that I kind of thought about. I was like, I don't know if I keep doing this, so I stopped posting that. And then when my views would go down, I'd be like, screw it, I'm going to post something else. Yeah. But I really think it comes down to knowing you don't need to really have a niche, but at the end of the day, will these people follow you throughout your ebbs and flows of life? Mm-hmm. One of my girlfriends is huge in the corpcore world. I don't know if you've heard of corpcore. It's like hiking, but with fashion twist.
Cool.
Yeah, it's a really cool space, and she introduced me to it. But she has all these followers who now will follow her through every phase of life because her life has always revolved around hiking and the outdoors and fashion. She's been sewing clothes for years and hiking for years, right? So it's one of those things where even if she has kids, those people still follow her because she'll post hiking with my kid content. Like they'll grow with her, if that makes sense. Yeah. So I think realizing, okay, what's a niche that's sustainable for me long term that I can grow with and followers that will grow with me. So that was a very like big transition for me.
Yeah, no kidding. Mm-hmm. That is, it's so interesting too. Like it comes down back to niches, which is something I would say I still struggle with because one, you want to be authentic, right, on social media, or I try to anyways, but two, you don't want to share everything. Yeah. So how did you find that fine line between sticking to your beliefs but not oversharing?
Yeah, I don't know. For a long time I never wanted to post Dustin on my account. Like we probably dated for almost a year and a bit before I ever actually like I'd post like photos of like the back of his head, you know, be very like who is he kind of aesthetic. But I never wanted to post like big things. But then I think once I posted something about him, it did really well. And I was like, oh, okay. And I mean, I love the guy. He's a good looking dude. For whatever reason, his videos do very well. There was a video I posted of him building this coffee table, and it hit like 5 million views. And it was like with that trend where it's like, looking for a man in finance, but I did it as like a man in trades.
Yeah.
And that one blew up. So then I was like, you're my new prop. Like, I'm going to put you in every single video. But then again, I was like, at what point do I... And I'm someone who very much... criticism doesn't hurt me. It doesn't, like, people fight in my comments all the time. People take things I say, and I have no time or energy for it. So there would be people commenting on our relationship on those videos, and I'd be like, whatever, no problem. But then I was like, what if one day we do have kids, and those kids somehow find this video, and they see these comments about our, like, it just... I realized I didn't want to share that much about him anymore. I'll still post a few things here and there, but I wanted that part to be more us. And I think I got to a point where I decided I actually don't care about views and about likes and about engagement. Once I'm authentic to me, it will grow. And the moment I kind of stop posting that child-free content, the couple content, I still post here and there about him, and I always probably will. But I've now gained so many followers, even just in the last, for example, the last month I've started posting more like instructor training video stuff. And when I post that, I've gained probably over like 500,000 followers in the last month.
Wow.
Just because of that stuff.
500,000?
Or sorry, 500.
Oh my god. I was going to say, what?
You're like, you grew.
Like, what am I doing?
No, sorry, no. 500.
Yeah, still.
Yeah. But it happens, right? So it's like every day I'm gaining more. And when I look at these people following me, and sometimes I miss them, and you don't get to see everybody who follows you because it just happens. You don't check your phone.
Yeah.
But when I look at these people, it's always people who align with me. It's women in my age demographic. It's women that I could make a difference in their lives based on what I've done with mine.
Yeah.
So, and those women will grow with you because they are, again, we're all kind of roughly the same age demographic. So like when I do have kids, or if I do have kids, maybe they will be too. And maybe there'll be a whole new fitness thing that's exposed about fitness with children. Or maybe I move somewhere different and do fitness there, and it becomes more of like, you can move when you're in your 30s and start a whole new community, right? So there's so many different avenues you can take it once you are being authentic to what you want and who you want.
Yeah.
But that being said, it takes a while to get there.
Definitely. It sounds like you found a gray zone, which is a good thing in my mind. And I say this from someone who used to really love extremes. And I think that the child-free content, where, I mean, there's nothing wrong with it, it is a bit of an extreme, because you're right. What if down the road you are like, actually, humans change and grow and evolve. What if we want kids? Right? So it definitely sounds like you've landed a gray zone.
Yeah.
Which on the path of yoga and enlightenment, they always say find the middle way.
Yeah.
And I think that middle way, coming back to it looks so different for everyone, but for you right now, it's Pilates and educating people, having conversations with people who are interested in what you're in, which for me, I always find in social media, it's so much easier to show up consistently when you're doing it and you're like excited and there's conversation and it's something you're passionate about. Yeah. What I'm curious on something you said is like sometimes people they'll criticize in the comments and have arguments and such. How do you detach from that?
I have no good answer. I'm a very detached personality in general. You can't make me mad very easily. I don't get offended very easily. I take feedback really well. Like, I like that kind of stuff. Yeah. So for me, it's hard to understand how somebody could take one of those comments and like sit in their bedroom and cry about it, because as mean as they can be, and again, that's just my personality is very like that. You like me.
It's because you had 6 siblings.
Exactly. And the oldest, I
there's a lot around you.
A lot. Yeah. And also, too, life's too short. Like, I just really am in that mindset of, I know, Tika, like, not to get dark, but I know if something were to happen to me tomorrow, I'm completely content with how my life is and what I've experienced in my life. And I'm happy with everything I've accomplished. So I think there's nothing that someone could say that could pull me under. Yeah. That being said, if they say things about Dustin or they say things about my siblings, oh my God, Mama Bear comes out. But other than that, like, you can't really hurt me. So that's kind of, it's, again, I don't have good advice for that one. And people do ask me. I find people who follow you will support you. So usually if someone comments something nasty and I want to reply something like nasty back right away, someone usually beats me to it and I don't have to do it.
Yeah.
And then there's like someone fighting in the comments for me and I can just kind of sit back and say, oh, I didn't see it.
Yeah.
Not a big deal. Or I move on.
You're like your popcorn.
I'm like, oh my God. And sometimes they get crazy. I was with my boss the other day and she was kind of sitting behind me and I opened up a comment and it was huge. This girl took something I said and like completely 180'd it. I was like, whatever. But my boss goes, is that a comment? And I said, yeah, that is a comment. Like, this is how much time someone has to be negative on someone else's content that honestly I was just trying to be supportive of her. And she just had to find something negative about it. And so then my boss was like, how do you do it? I'm like, I'm going to close my phone. Like, it literally doesn't affect me. I don't know her.
No.
It's not a big deal. And even if I did know her, it doesn't affect me. So it's one of those things where I think you have to find that. And it's not easy. It's definitely not. There's other things I struggle with in life that probably other people wouldn't.
Yeah.
But that's something that, it's just, you can't let it get to you.
Well, I think for me, I remember that it's a projection most of the time.
Always.
Because we're all just like little mirrors of each other. And when we see something that is maybe a wounded part of ourselves and we don't have the tools to work through whatever that wound is, we usually project.
Yeah.
And I mean, we could get into why wars happen and how they're all just projections, but that's not today's podcast episode. So yeah, I love that you're able to detach because I think that also is what makes one a strong business owner, but also creator and teacher and manager and all of these roles that you do play in life.
Yeah.
If someone's listening and they're in a 9-to-5 and they're like, I want that. I want to be hurt. I want to quit this stupid job that I have, but I feel so stuck.
Yeah.
What would be one piece of advice you'd give?
A piece of advice I'd give would be find something that you are passionate about. A lot of people think turning their passion into a career choice is maybe not going to work out, or it could be they could lose their passion. But if you do it right, it can work out for the best. A lot of the time, sometimes, your passion is ruined. But I think genuinely, you just need to find something that you are passionate about. A lot of people will come to me and they're like, I really want to do something different. I want to get out of the corporate 9-to-5. And they're like, I don't know how to do it. I'm like, well, what do you love doing? Deep dive into that, right? It's the same as someone who asks me, what Pilates certification should I take? Well, what kind of Pilates do you like to do? Do you love to go to group classes, or do you like the one-on-one? Do you want to have people in your basement on a reformer, or do you want to teach 20 people? Like, it all really just depends. And so I think in life, that idea of my passion can't become my full-time career, it'll ruin it, is not true. And so I think finding that passion and really deep diving into it, or finding streams or avenues that make sense, is kind of the way to go.
Great advice. That's great advice. And like my younger self takes that too, because that was a limiting belief I held on to for so long. Is no, you can't make your passion your career. You can't dive into the thing that you love because then you won't love it anymore. It's so not true. No, if you love it, if you know deep in your heart you love it, go all freaking in. Do it. Life is way too short.
It's way too short. And the moment you align, there's a girl I follow who just posted something recently. She lives in Mexico full time and she's from Ontario. And she posted something and she was like, this was me living a life I thought I was supposed to live. And she was like into politics and all this stuff. And she looked like a regular girl from Ontario, but like wasn't a glow about her, wasn't like anything crazy. Like, she didn't give off an aura of any kind. It was just very like, no, it's like, another girl going to school. And now she's living in Mexico, hosting retreats for women, and so that they can kind of find their dream life is her essential goal with it. And the glow that she has, and she posted kind of like, this is what it looks like when you're aligned with your life. And I think that's so real. Like, if you feel like, and again, back to the BO, right? Like, your body tells you when it's unhappy. Your body tells you when you shouldn't be in things that you're in. And it sends down to the tiniest things like a job. Like, it doesn't always have to be like toxic relationships or like, environments. It can be just a job that is draining you.
Yeah. Oh, we love it. And even the BO thing, like bringing that up again, I struggle with the same thing in my past job. I remember we had a uniform that we had to wear all the time. It was a red t-shirt. And I remember just being so sweaty and disgusting. And I would get home and I'm like, ew, like, why do I feel like this? So that's not abnormal at all. And if anyone else listening is struggling with that, you're probably in the wrong place in your life.
Absolutely.
And you should get out of there.
Get out of there so fast.
Yeah. So one final question, because we're going to wrap up.
Okay.
I ask everyone this question, especially the entrepreneurs in my life. How do you define success?
I think success, and I don't want to use the word balance because I feel like balance can also not be true, but almost like alignment. Back to alignment. I think success is when you feel aligned with everything you're doing. So everything in your life makes sense. And the moment everything in your life makes sense, then you're successful. I'm not a very like materialistic person. I think no one will ever know unless it's the house in like Mexico. But no one will ever know if I become a millionaire because I think just that's what I love, right? I like living my life simply. I like doing things I love doing, but I always feel very now aligned. And for me, I've never felt so successful as I do right now.
Oh, I love that. Alignment. That is such a good answer. All right. Well, we're going to wrap. If anyone wants to reach you, maybe they are local to Calgary, they want to do a Pilates training, how should they reach out?
So my Instagram is at Michyla. It's just my first name. And then I have Kalon, obviously, but I don't check that Instagram often, but it's kalon.pilates. My main Instagram is like the best place. You can find my email on there, all that jazz. And if you're interested in Pilates training or like how I got here, I have so many DMs that I love to answer with a big old voice memo, a big old voice note. So if you have questions, I always answer them. And I'm here for everybody who's kind of like, I want to get rid of this 9 to 5. How do I do it? And yeah, we're hosting trainings. We're growing like crazy. So we'll keep having more and more trainings. So if people are interested, they can definitely reach out.
Amazing. Well, thank you.
Well, thank
so
you.
Much.
Thank you, Tiki.
Yes.
Good job, girl.
We have an excited puppy.
An excited puppy.
Done.
Come on, Teeks, get up here. Come say hi. She goes, you told me I couldn't come on the couch.
Thank you for this chat.
Of
This
course.
was so
Thank
good.
you.
All right. Peace out. Bye.
Bye.